Hello everyone and welcome to Theme Park Worldwide, where I'm here at the Alton Towers Resort to talk about everything Scarefest 2024. This is a huge Halloween event that comes back to the resort each year, featuring a variety of different scare mazes, family attractions, shows and theming throughout the resort. Now along with that, the event will be running this year every day from the 11th of October through until the 3rd of November 2024. It's a full run through every night. The park's open until some nights 8 o'clock and most nights 9 p.m. during the Halloween season, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. A full run all the way through, no gaps at all, of enjoying rides in the dark here at Alton Towers. Now, we've been saying for a few years that Scarefest really needed a freshen up with some new attractions, and Alton Towers have certainly gave us some new things to look forward to this year, which I'm really excited about. And yeah, we said last year that the event just felt so stale, things hadn't changed enough, everything from some of the scare mazes that just kept coming back, through to also the family shows and entertainment, just the same scripts, the same songs, and just not really feeling fresh at all. It had become very stale. Now, living local to Alton Towers, I've been to Scarefest every year since the event started back in 2007, and I even remember the event prior to that, the Spooktacular event that ran here at Alton Towers. And it was quite clear that last year attendance was down on the scare mazes. I mean, we'd come up here a lot during Scarefest on an evening and stroll around, and the mazes barely had queues. And I think a lot of that was due to the fact that the mazes just hadn't changed. There was nothing really new, nothing fresh, and people coming back to Scarefest every year were probably thinking, you know, we've seen this, we're bored of seeing the same thing. So it's good to see that Alton Towers have listened to some feedback and brought in some new attractions this year. Is it the full refresh the event needed? Well, I'll be talking about that throughout the video, so stay tuned. But there's definitely new things to look forward to for this year. Obviously, scare mazes do come at a cost. There's no free mazes here at the park. You know, you buy your admission ticket and you do have to then pay extra for the scare mazes. They do have the free entertainment and also a scare zone as well now, which is back for this year with Burial Ground. So we're going to walk around the park, talk about the full lineup, and also, is this enough of a revamp for Scarefest 2024? Now, we all know that Nemesis has got an absolutely fantastic and in-depth storyline. We've seen that this year with Nemesis Reborn and a reimagining of the area, and that's set to continue this Scarefest with a new scare attraction all based on the Phalanx and the Nemesis backstory, and it's going to be called Compound. And this new thrilling scare maze is going to be located on the pathway between Forbidden Valley and Gloomy Wood in a new location, which is built behind the trees here. So yeah, I'm loving the fact that we're starting to see the mazes come out of the tower's ruins now and into different areas around the park. And yeah, it'll be nicely hidden away behind the trees just here. And here's a look at the structure itself. It's actually made up of 6 shipping containers, and then also the tent, which you can see in the middle there, which kind of arches over and connects them all together. So there's a lot of space to work with for this new Scarefest maze, and I am really excited for this, especially with the backstory all being based on Nemesis and the Phalanx. Sounds like it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And yeah, there's obviously work happening in there right now. I can hear a bit of work going on, preparing this ready for Halloween this year. And yeah, you can see all the wooden boards outside, obviously making sets and just putting it all together inside. You know, how they're going to transform what is a tent and shipping containers into a fully immersive new attraction. Yeah, I'm really excited just to see what this will be like. Obviously, you've got an idea where the queue line and the exit will be, and yeah, there's work going on the left-hand side to prepare more space for queue line by the looks of it too. So it's all sounding really exciting for this new attraction. I'm just going to read off what it says on the website about Compound. A terrifying new live-action scare maze, Compound. Bravely step forward and find yourself a subject of the Phalanx, guarded by their relentless operatives. You're plunged into a sinister sci-fi experiment where your DNA is the next weapon. Are things really as in control as they seem? Can you escape their clutches, or will you become the next target for their experiments lurking within? And it also goes on to say that Compound is an intense and disorientating scare maze set within an intimidating Phalanx facility, featuring dark and claustrophobic environments amongst the hallways and chambers of their labs. Dare you enter this scientific nightmare? Oh, it sounds so good! And yeah, it's a live-action scare maze recommended for guests aged 12+. So Compound sounds very promising. I'm excited for the theme, the size of the building as well, and what they're going to do with all the themed experience in there. I think it's going to look absolutely fantastic. I'm excited for it on the first day of Scarefest. Right then, let's talk about a returning favourite for this year, coming back for a second year, that is Burial Grounds, and it'll be located in the same location just behind these bushes that we can see here down at Haunted Hollow next to Wicker Man. So this is a free-flowing scare zone, and it's actually free to enter as well. Yeah, there's no cost involved in walking through this attraction. And I do like scare zones, they just really add to the atmosphere. Burial Grounds was fantastic last year, lots of great theming around. And yeah, it was all kind of built over here. In fact, some bits were left up from last year, so that was kind of an early inkling that this was going to come back. But yeah, soon I reckon we'll see more construction happening around this area. There's a bit of camo netting just over at the side there, and you can still see some of the wooden beams and things over at the side. But yeah, Burial Grounds will be back, and it'll be located around here, so I'm sure we'll see more major construction soon. Much like Nemesis, the backstory for Wicker Man and the overall theme is awesome, and it's a great theme to go for a scare attraction. So it'll be nice to see Burial Grounds back. The sign looked awesome down here as well with all the flame torches on. And yeah, this was the entrance just here. The good thing is, with it being free flowing, it never really had a queue either, which is good. Maybe you wait 2 or 3 minutes just here, just to stop everybody piling forward. But I preferred it like that because it meant that, you know, it didn't ruin the experience with too many people going through all together. They just did a gradual hold and then let you walk through it. Free of charge as well. And it's a good kind of taster for the other scare mazes. I always felt like, you know, if people do a scare zone like this and really enjoy it, they're more willing to pay for the mazes. So over the past few years, when we've not really had any scare zones until they came back last year with Burial Grounds, there was no real kind of tester, if you like, to see if you wanted to do more mazes and attractions. So yeah, I think it's a good move bringing this back. Well, it's back for 2024, and blimey, I hope this is better than it was last year. Daz Games Panic Reloaded. And yeah, last year was known just as Daz Games Panic. This year we've got Reloaded added on the end. And yeah, this will be located in the same place it was last year, in the corporate hospitality suite, which is right next door to Spinball Whizzer. I think this is one of them that it was a cool concept, but it was poorly executed. I'm not too sure on the theme of this either, but I think for me it was more the lack of theming in the attraction that I really didn't like. There was just hardly anything in there. It was like Harris fencing and black walls, and it just really didn't flow, in my opinion. I know quite a lot of other people felt the same, but there was also people that enjoyed it, so I guess it depends on what you like. For me, I prefer a more immersive, story-led experience instead of a game. However, you know, we'll see what happens with it this year. I just hope that this is better executed, because last year I thought this was one of the worst scare attractions we've ever had in the history of Scarefest. And I'll just read you the description off the website for this one. Backed by popular demand for 2024, Daz Games Panic Reloaded dares you to take on an adrenaline-inducing escape room meets live-action scare maze for the ultimate horror experience. Plunge into darkness, your mission is simple. You have until the timer reaches 0 to take on an intense series of challenges that will twist the mind, locate the symbols, and escape. But can you evade capture from the inhabitants within? Racing against the clock, you'll have to think fast and stay calm as you take on this newly reloaded, AI-themed assault of the senses, all before the game strikes back. And again, this is recommended for those aged 12 plus. I am glad that they're saying it's been rebooted for this year. I'm hoping that means a lot of new theming, a lot of props, and just things to actually see. Like, I understand the concept with it being Daz Games and having the different symbols and that sort of thing, but that doesn't excuse the fact that there was hardly anything in there. It was literally fencing like this, with like tarps on and like black walls. It really wasn't well thought out, in my opinion. So I'm just hoping there's a lot more to see in there, a lot more practical set pieces. It just felt like it was done on a real budget last year. So I'm hoping the fact it's come back for a second year, more money's been spent on it to actually make it worthy of a Scarefest attraction, because the team here always do a good job with theming of the mazes, but this just had hardly anything to look at in there. It was blank, it was weak, so let's just hope that the rebooted attraction is going to offer more for Scarefest this year. Now, of course, Scarefest is a family event that offers something for everyone, and that's always been the case since the event started back in 2007. One of my favourite things to do during the event is sit over on the lawns and just watch some of the entertainment. And yeah, for this year, Sin Bin is going to be back, which is the singing show. That's always fantastic, with the live singing, all the lighting, all the smoke, especially at night. It looks the part down there on the lawns, and yeah, it's a really nice location. Hopefully we're going to see the tent actually up for Scarefest as well. I mean, you've got the tent that's been brought in for Oktoberfest, and as we're filming this, obviously Oktoberfest starts in the next couple of days. But there's a look at the tent that's currently in place for that event. So hopefully that's going to stay for Scarefest, just to provide some cover. Along with that, there's also going to be the family shows down there too, along with Simbin, and that will include the characters. All your Scarefest favourites will be back there on the stage. As much as I love the character shows, I'm really hoping that we see the scripts refreshed for this year. It's been the same sort of storyline for many years, and along with that, the music too. It's been the same songs, so I really hope that that's been freshened up for this year. Simbin, they always change it up every year with different songs, normally putting some classics, some Halloween favourites, and ones that are relevant for the time, you know. But then they also just don't really change the family shows that much, so I'm really hoping we see them change up the scripts and stuff this year. Everybody loves the characters for Scarefest. They are fantastic. But we just really want some new scripts and an overall storyline change. Along with that, in CBeebies Land, the Monster Ball will be back for this year, and also the Alton Ancestors will be back on Tower Street. Love the Alton Ancestors, but again, I'm hoping we see that maybe freshened up a bit for this year. A full new playlist would be great. They normally like keep a little bit from the year before and put some new bits in, but I think it needs a full refresh now, just to make the Alton Ancestors you know, stay as a really popular addition here at Scarefest. Just keeps things fresh, doesn't it? It doesn't become too stale then. Right, we're going to continue on around the park and talk about the 2 attractions that are back for this year, located within the towers, including one that has been here now for a very long time. I've thought this for a few years now, but rides in the dark are my favourite part about Scarefest. So I'm looking forward to getting back on the rides here at night. It's always great walking around the park and enjoying it in the dark. Welcome to the Altonville Mine Tours. It's been part of Scarefest since 2016. It's a brilliant attraction. Last year it did get refreshed into Tiny's Revenge, and we saw a few new additions, quite a few changes throughout, but still it was Altonville Mine Tours. And you know what? I do love this attraction. The theming is probably my favourite of any scare maze they've ever done at Scarefest. And you know what? I still think it's got place in the event for this year, but I think for next year we need to see this go and replaced with something else just as good and just as heavily themed. That's why I'm really hoping that Compound is going to have a lot of theming, just like Altonville Mine Tours, because the theming in here is great, and we need another attraction that's done on this level of detail and immersion to come here to Halloween at the resort. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it is back for this year. Speakers are already in place down there. The music will be playing, and we'll be heading down the mines once again here at Alton Towers. I do love this attraction though. I think it's got one more year left in it, and then it really does need a change. The beautiful Alton Towers, what a building. And the Altonville Mine Tours takes place in the lower section over on this side. And again, I'll just read the description from the website. Rumours are afoot that the old Altonville mines are alive with activity once again. Following a breakthrough from local law enforcers, the notorious skin snatchers have been detained. But for how long? The ironically named Tiny, however, has evaded capture and is believed to still reside within the mines. Explore this live-action scare maze at your peril and risk the adventure if you dare. And this is also recommended for those aged 12 plus. Right then, let's talk about something that really did need to go for Scarefest this year, that's been here for too long in my opinion, and it's located at the top just there. This is the attic. It's actually been part of Scarefest since 2019, meaning that in 2024 it's the 6th year of the attic, and there's only ever been a few minimal changes to some of the scenes, not much at all. Everything's pretty much the same as it first was in 2019, other than a few little set changes. Along with that, the same scares, the same storyline, just everything identical to how it was. And in that period of time, you know, we should have had some new ideas, some fresh creativity that's brought, you know, a new attraction in to replace that. I think for me, 3 years should be like the maximum number of years for an attraction before it changes, or at least has a major refresh like we saw with Tiny's Revenge last year. But yeah, the attic, it was time for it to go, and I think they had every intention actually of replacing the attic with another new building that's still actually under construction, where Darkest Depths was last year. Obviously that's not come back for this year, the pirate themed scare maze, but they have built a building which is identical to the one that we saw for Compound in that location. It doesn't look like that's going to be used for Scarefest this year, mainly because I just don't think it's ready in time. So I don't think the intention was to bring the attic back, but here we are in 2024. That building is clearly not ready yet, so the attic looks like it's going to be here for one more year, which is a shame really, because you know, it really should have gone by now. I'll just read the information off the website again for you now. Around here, people talk of the governess, how she's haunted by the death of her young charges, how she wants revenge, and how she'll take it by seizing the spirits of the living in retribution. They say her ghost haunts the attic. That's where you're headed. Dare you risk your immortal soul? And again, it's recommended for those 12 plus years in age. And even though it doesn't look like this is going to be used at all for Scarefest this year, just thought I'd check in on the building and have a little look how it is. And this also gives you a bit of an idea on the size of compound, because you can't really get an idea on the tent down there because of the location where it is. It's massive, so the really big spaces for new scare mazes. And yeah, it's not looking like anything's going to be in this one for this year, mainly because they've only just finished the building, and obviously you've got to then kit it out with all the tech in there, all the theming, then got to think about rehearsals. There just wouldn't be enough time to put anything in here for Scarefest this year, or at least I doubt so, unless they've got a big surprise for us this year. But yeah, I can't see anything going into this for this year, but I think they had every intention originally to probably replace the attic and put something inside here. But still, whatever does come in here in the future, looking forward to seeing it. And obviously it's got a big front on it where hopefully we'll get a nicely themed facade. I mean, imagine like a really tall facade, you know, all the way up across the front. It would look fantastic. So I guess we'll see what happens. Anyway, they're the 4 thrilling scare mazes for this year and the family shows that we've got. Let's talk about the 2 family attractions, including one new one for this year. It's back for a 4th year, Trick or Treat Town, located right next door to the new family attraction for this year, where the Alton Towers dungeon used to be. And yeah, that's also next to the Burger Kitchen. So Trick or Treat Town is a family attraction with some beautiful theming and set design. It definitely looks like when it was originally designed, it was going to be like for photo opportunities, because you're walking through and there's some beautiful photo opportunities in there, but you're not allowed to take any photos and videos. I really find that surprising. I'd love to see that rule change, because this isn't like a really an actor-led experience. You more just walk through, enjoying the different scenes, and then of course you get all sweets, meet different people along the way. So I think, you know, for me, this should be like a photo opportunity. I think it would, you know, just encourage more people to buy tickets and go into it, to be honest. But yeah, you normally get some nice theming out the front of this with like a countdown to Halloween and all the orange lights around here, and then obviously the queue line and little pre-show area in that building. But yeah, it's basically in the left-hand side of where the lifts used to be for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the ride, yeah, the dark ride that they used to have here, and they utilise all of that space. But yeah, I'll just read out the information again from the website for Trick or Treat Town. This Scarefest, get ready to explore with your family and friends, a special town where every day is Halloween. And do you know what the townsfolk's favourite pastime is? Yes, you got it. It's hosting trick-or-treating for the town's visitors. So muster up your courage and prepare to knock on the doors from Spooky Avenue all the way up to the Witchetty Woods. But be careful, as the Haribo treats, there are definitely tricks aplenty. So yeah, more information from the website. Yeah, it's back for a 4th year. Now, the final thing to talk about coming to this Scarefest is a new attraction for families that's going to be located where the Alton Towers dungeon used to be over here. I've got quite a lot to say about this one because it sounds quite interesting, but also I was really hoping that this was going to be another thrill maze. Scarefest has always been a family event, and that's what makes it. There's something for absolutely everyone here. If you just want big thrills, that's what Thorpe Park Fright Nights is for. You know, Scarefest has always had something, but I was really hoping that what was going to be built in here was going to be for the thrill seekers. You know, this building is massive, and yes, half of it's already took up with Trick or Treat Town, but you got this whole side where they could have done something big for the thrills, for the thrill seekers of Scarefest. So I was hoping that that's what we were going to see, but still it is a new family attraction. And you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing what the theming is going to be like for this. Are they going to have done this cheap, or are they going to have gone in full in and done a big theming project in here? I can't wait to find out, because obviously with the dungeon, there was a lot of existing props, a lot of existing things in there, and what could have just been painted up and used, or have they gone full on and built new set pieces? And it's quite tall in there, you know, there's going to be some quite high up set pieces. I'm excited to see what it's going to be like, but it's going to be called Amigos in the Afterlife, and it's a Dia de los Muertos theme that we're seeing with this. I'm just going to read the information for you now from the website. This Scarefest, step foot in a vibrant world where the gap between this life and the next is at its thinnest. Be captivated by Dia de los Muertos celebrations, the bright colours and the festive spirits, but be careful, you've accidentally crossed through a portal into the afterlife. Guided by friendly spirits, you must find your way back to the world of the living, journey through this magical realm of spectacular effects, encountering mischievous characters along the way who will challenge you and your family with tasks to earn your passage back to the living realm. And yeah, this walkthrough is recommended for those age 6+, and it's also the same for Trick or Treat Town that's located right next door. So I'm very intrigued with how this is going to turn out. It's a huge building, it's got a lot of potential. I'm hoping they go full on with the theming and just make this a really enjoyable experience for everyone. Let's just hope that's the case. I mean, obviously in the past we have had the Mardi Gras events here, and some of the theming has been a bit Dia de los Muertos, if you remember the big skull that was down there on the Fountain Square area of the park. So it makes me think, you know, they're just going to reuse some bits, maybe some of the costumes from that, or we're going to see full on new things. I'm excited to see it, but still, it's going to be in this massive building that used to inhabit the Alton Towers dungeon. Whether that's going to come back for next year or not, we will find out. But still, you know, we have got some new things to look forward to. Is it enough for Scarefest this year? You know, have we got enough changes? I think for me, if everything's done to a really high standard, especially compound and the new attraction down here for families, some improvements to dance games, I'm going to say yes. I think there is definitely enough to feel like it's a bit of a revitalised event for this year. I would have liked to have seen another new thrill maze for this year. I think that's what, you know, is just going to feel missing, especially with the attic. If they could have replaced the attic and just had, you know, a new maze in that tent, then I think we would have 100% been, you know, well on the way to Scarefest being a premier event again. But you know what? I'm just intrigued to see what we get for this year. I think that compound sounds exciting. I really like the theme. I think it's going to look the part, and the fact it's based on Nemesis and the Phalanx, I think is going to be awesome. And in terms of other things, I just hope they've freshened up some scripts, maybe some new theming around the park, some new photo opportunities, just to give the event a bit of a revitalisation that is needed now for quite a few years. It's been a bit of a stale fest for a few years, so let's hope that this year's event is going to be better. I just also wanted to mention about the prices, because like I say, you've got to pay for pretty much everything on top of admission as well, which can get quite pricey. So you've actually got the Spooks and Frights combi for this year, which includes the 2 spook mazes, so the family attractions down here, and 4 fright scare mazes. That's £50 per person. And then you've also got a discount for annual pass holders, which brings it to £40. Still, it's very expensive, isn't it? To experience some attractions that we've done before. Let's just hope the new things are going to be worth the cost, because we've seen quite an increase there. And another option is the Spooks Duo, which is £15 per person, £12 for pass holders, where you just get the 2 family mazes. Seems like it's changed as well with Trick or Treat Town this year, because it used to be you'd pay for the bag. So you'd buy like 1 bag and then 2 of you could share that bag, if that made sense. Whereas this year, seems like you've got to have a ticket or a bag per person. So yeah, that's like another increase on what it was last year, which is quite interesting. But there we go. That is Scarefest 2024 here at Alton Towers. You know, we're seeing some new things. Yes, we're seeing some old things come back. But overall, I'm still feeling quite positive about the event. I think for me, the fact it's a full run through, 9 o'clock closes are always fantastic. Yes, there's some 8 o'clocks in there this year, but some of the nights here at Alton Towers, it is very quiet. So I can kind of understand why they've done some 8 o'clock close. As much as it is another cut back to hours that we didn't necessarily want, I can understand more the reasoning behind that, because some evenings here, it is very, very quiet. I think that's just because of the location of Alton Towers, people having to get transport back and drive back. You know, the parts, we're here in the beautiful Staffordshire Moorlands, but you know, it's pretty much in the middle of nowhere. So I can understand why the 8 o'clocks have been brought in. But yeah, lots of new things to look forward to. Most excited for Compound, really intrigued in Amigos in the Afterlife and what that's going to be like, and just seeing the entertainment and general atmosphere around the park. Prices for mazes are expensive. They are offering like an unlimited pass for pass holders, which you can buy for this year to just do everything as much as you want to. Personally, it's not something that I'd be interested in, because I think for me, you know, with the scare maze, you lose that impact, don't you, after doing it a couple of times. For me, I'd normally just do the new things a few times, the old things just buy the maze combi once, because normally they always sell individual scare maze tickets on the day from the box office too, and you do get your pass holder discount, so that normally works out better. For me, I can't see there being, you know, I just haven't really got interest in doing them again and again and again. I want to enjoy the night rides on offer here at Alton Towers too. But still, that is available if you want it, and I'm sure they'll bring back the Maze singles for this year too, for people to purchase. But thanks for joining us here on Theme Park Worldwide. Obviously, the past few days filmed quite a few different Alton Towers videos, everything through from the operations at the moment and availability, to the new ride construction in Forbidden Valley, of course, through to Scarefest as well. But let me know your thoughts on everything down below in the video comments, and that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you in the next video.